Hey guys, how's it going? So like I was talking about in the last video, I'm really excited with this new tape measure that Milwaukee put out. And like I discussed in the previous video, I really just love the basic Stanley power locks. They're awesome. They get the job done. They served me well during my career and through my apprenticeship. And they were just a good solid tape measure. So I really, when I had an issue with these or they got too old or I lost them, I would just buy another one. And it's still a great tape measure if that's what you can afford or what you can get. But I'll tell you the truth. I saw this Milwaukee tape measure and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. I like Milwaukee power tools. They're a good reputable brand. I've seen some of their other hand tools and they look well made, but like I said, I'm kind of a traditionalist, and the brands that I've been using for the last 20 years, pretty much what I stick with for specific items. So I looked at this tape measure and the first thing I noticed was this cutaway at the bottom, which is awesome because it allows you to hold, your place very easily without kind of having to finagle it like you would on a traditional one, where it's like I said, you can still hold it from the bottom. It's not really made for it. It's not as comfortable. So I noticed that and I liked it. So I pulled it out. Then the second thing I noticed was there's numbers on both sides of the tape measure, which is great. I mean, how many times are you trying to measure something and you're going long, maybe it's a long run, and now you're trying to twist that tape measure around? I'll show you the traditional one. Oh, look, no numbers on this side. Here we go. And not only that, you can see that the numbers are larger on this Milwaukee too, which is awesome. I mean, you can see from this video very clear that I break out, the old battle axe, the traditional one. You could barely see what's going on. And if you're on the wrong side, it's very tough to see. Now, if you're an apprentice or a guy just starting out, you know that there's two ends to a tape measure. There's, the side that the mechanic's looking at with the relevant information, and then what's called the dummy end of the tape measure, and that's the end. That's what you're usually holding against the wall. A guy, journeyman will say, hey, why don't you hold that tape measure? And you hold the dummy end of the tape measure because, the other side is the measurement that counts, where you're going to make your cut, where you're going to make your calculations for an angle or whatever. So you can really see what's going on. And the best is when you are an apprentice and they give you the opportunity to go on the other side, I guess the smart end of the tape measure, and then you're struggling to see what that measurement is. And it's like, oh man, and the guy's yelling out to you, what's the measurement? What's the measurement? And you're struggling to find out. Well, this tape measure kind of solves that problem. And it's just fun. I mean, like I said, it's hard to reinvent the wheel. And you think, oh, it's a tape measure. Like, all tape measures do the same thing. But this one, it seems to be going above and beyond. So you have this cutaway at the bottom, which is pretty interesting. You have the numbers on both sides. They're large, which is awesome. And then you have this feature, which I've heard some people say they hate. I don't know how you could hate it. But you literally, it's magnetic on the one end. And, if you're doing metal studs or whatever, you could stick it on there, kind of walk away from it. I'm going to be honest. I haven't tested the strength of that magnet. But it's a cool feature. And I think it's interesting. I mean, normally you're hooking onto something and whatever. Even when I did metal studs or plumbing metal studs previously, I never relied on this magnet, but it is a nice feature. I'm also told that this tape measure, you can extend out 15 feet. Now, listen, a lot of tape measures make claims on how far out you can extend the tape measure before it starts to bend, and everything else if you're going across the room and so on and so forth. I mean, but as you can see, what are we at right now? We're at 6 feet. We're still going strong. Let's see, up 7 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet, 10 feet. Are we at 10? Let's see. Yeah, look at this. Oh man, it's going, it's going. I don't want to break things in my house, but let's see, up 12 feet. That's what we got. But let me tell you something, 12 feet's still pretty damn good. And, you know, like I said, it's exciting to see something new come out that, you know, kind of revolutionizes the way you do things, changes it, switches it up. And that's pretty cool. So like I said, I really like this tape measure. I'm going to put a link in the description. If you like it, if you're interested and, you know, you want to purchase one, you know what, use my link. You know, I got a couple bucks for it, be able to keep putting out videos. But while we're talking, I just want to say something. Not all tape measures are created equally. And by that I mean, if you're a young apprentice starting out, or a new plumber on a job, or plumber's helper, there's some unwritten rules that you need to know. One, you need at least 25 foot or better. Now don't do what I did and bring the only tape measure that you had, which was one. Now these are cool, these little DeWalt's or whatever. This is a 9-footer. And, you know, it's what I had. I don't come from a family of plumbers or even people that worked with tools. You know, I'll go into my story at some point in a future video, but I'm a first-generation tradesman, you know. So, you know, I had a tape measure like this. I figured, hey, make some measurements. So I bring this to the job site, not this particular one, but, and the guy's like, what are you, a seamstress? What are you doing? He's like, don't you ever bring that back to my job site again. And he gave me a tape measure. It was a beat up Fat Max. And it was on its last leg, and you know, the front little piece was about to snap off, you know, but it was, I was in heaven. It was awesome. It was one of the first professional grade tools that someone had given to me or that I had. And, you know, just having that on my belt, you know, I just felt a sense of pride. So I will tell you this, if you're starting on that job, 25 foot or better, you know, you want to have something, like I said, at least a Stanley. I mean, you could have the off brands and you know, the home center brands or whatever, but you will be judged. So, listen, I hope you guys got some value out of this. And, you know, I'm not going to go into how to read a tape measure. That's an important skill. And there's so many videos out there on how to read a tape measure. But what I will tell you in plumbing is what you're mostly dealing with is quarter, half-inch, 3/4, and the next size up. You may do like a 3/8 or 5/8, but as a guy told me on the job once, he goes, we're plumbers. We're not Swiss clockmakers. And, you know, some people may get offended by that statement, but I've found it to be true. So if you know what a 1/4 inch is, 1/2 inch, 3/4, you can kind of, you know, make do with what you got. And that's exactly what I knew when I got on the job. And I would cringe when a guy said, oh, yeah, I need a 3/8 piece, a 5/8 piece, or this and 3/8 and that. So learn those. They're cool. But like I said, guys, I appreciate this, and I hope that you got something from this. Have a great night, guys. Take care.